The Minnesota Vikings should terrify you. After an absolutely crazy win over the Saints, Joshua Dobbs and the Minnesota Vikings look like an entirely new team. Joshua Dobbs played the best game of his career, throwing 268 yards with a touchdown and running it 8 times for 44 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Personally, I think that this was the best offensive game from the Vikings all season. And that's without Justin Jefferson. Joshua Dobbs' mobility completely opened up the Vikings offense, which led them to a pretty dominant win with a final score of 27-19. Now, that score doesn't seem like that big of a difference, but watching the game, it felt like the Vikings were in control for most of the game. The Saints had a few breakout plays towards the end of the game that gave them some hope for the win, but that was shut down pretty quickly after the Vikings intercepted Jameis Winston twice to end the game. All in all, the Vikings played an outstanding game. The defense played lights out, and the offense looked great for most of the game. For the Vikings run game, Ty Chandler led the team with 45 yards on 15 carries, followed by Dobbs and then Alexander Madison. TJ Hockenson led the receivers with a season-high 134 yards on 11 catches. He also had a 28-yard touchdown to put the Vikings up 24-3 at the end of the first half. Jordan Addison also put up a nice 69 yards on 4 receptions. You know, it's kind of crazy to me how productive the Vikings offense can be with a mobile quarterback. Kirk Cousins is pretty dang slow, and almost every time the line couldn't hold, he would get sacked pretty easily. Joshua Dobbs, on the other hand, can extend plays, leading to some pretty essential touchdowns. As we saw today, Joshua Dobbs scrambled around until running into the end zone on a 3rd down 7 yards away from the goal line. To me, this was the play that solidified Joshua Dobbs' skill. The Vikings may have just landed their franchise quarterback, and that may sound pretty stupid, but it's not something that's impossible. As we saw last year, Geno Smith solidified himself as the Seahawks franchise quarterback. On top of that, Dobbs and Geno have a pretty similar story. Both were longtime NFL journeymen and were pretty athletic with good arms. Both struggled to make smart plays early in their career, and by the looks of it, after many long years of being backups, both have now developed into the quarterbacks they were meant to be. Now, where do the Vikings go from here? The Vikings have a very soft schedule going forward, with the Bears and the Raiders being their next 2 games. I think it would be stupid to rush Justin Jefferson back and risk a bigger injury. I think it would be a pretty good idea to bring him back for the Bengals game to be able to compete and possibly pull off a pretty close win. But as their record stands, they're at 6-4, being one of the top teams in the underperforming NFC, which is led by the Eagles at 8-1, I think now, and other than them, there's really no other teams in the NFC. With that being said, the Vikings probably only need 2, 3, or maybe 4 at the most wins to be able to make it to the playoffs. It's time for them to develop an offense implementing Joshua Dobbs' mobility, running option plays and possibly RPO plays to these amazing receivers. All of this should easily open up Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison for killer performances while keeping the defense honest. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I think that you would enjoy one of the videos on screen. By the way, I love discussing football with you guys, so be sure to join the Discord link down below to talk with me and other football fans about these amazing and horrible teams. Anyways, the Vikings are here to compete, and they should terrify you.